for joining us for our Chamber Connection podcast. Thanks to our friends at Speakeasy, we are here for the next 52 weeks, bringing you guests from around our community, elected officials, business owners, folks doing great work here in Macomb County. So, sit back, take a listen, and we hope you'll join us every week for our Chamber Connection. Hi, I'm Stacy Ziarko, the President and CEO of the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us on this edition of our Chamber Connection, highlighting our chamber members throughout Macomb County. Now, today's topic is one that I am very excited about and I am very familiar with, is wine. Who doesn't like wine? So my guest today is Kurt Teller from Unwined Winery. Kurt, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stacy.
This is exciting. I don't know if you can see all the wine bottles that we have in front of us today. We have a lot to talk about. So first of all, tell us about you and the winery.
So the winery is comprised of four partners, my wife and I, another couple, good friends of ours, Mark and Jill. We met at church over 20 years ago. They have two daughters. We have two sons about the same age. Started hanging out, just doing some things together. One Friday night, we were looking for something different to do. And some wineries do what they call U-venting, where you go in, you start the process of making the wine. They do everything in the middle, and then you come back and bottle. So we thought, well, that would be fun, right? So we did that twice with two different wineries. We liked it so much, started buying some equipment, started making our own wine, right? Basement wine. And we made a lot of bad wine. So we
There's no such thing as bad wine.
We still drank it because it was our mistake.
You can't waste it.
Right, you can't waste it. So as we got more and more into it and we enjoyed it and the taste got better, as we figured out what we were doing, we always talked about trying to open a business or what would that look like, right? Could we do that, right? Are we good enough? Do we make a good enough product, right, to do that? So time passed. We kept making wine. And we finally said, okay, if we're going to be serious about opening a business, we've got to do it while we're not drinking wine. Because when we make wine, we drink wine, right? So we had to separate the two if we're going to start writing checks, right, and get serious about it. So we had a lot of different visions as to what the winery was going to look like, what exactly we were going to offer, just all kinds of things, right? All the decisions that go into opening up a business. So we found some space, fast forward, on Van Dyke, where we're at now, north of 21 Mile Road in Shelby Township. So we decided to have a large sit-down area, as large as we could with our space, make everything right there. We always wanted to have a small kitchen so there was something to eat there.
Good. When you have wine, you definitely need something to eat.
You always need something to eat, right, when you're drinking. And so that combination came together to what we have there in Van Dyke now. 60-seat tasting room, like I said, small kitchen, flat breads, small plate salads, different things coming out of the kitchen for people to enjoy. And we always have about 30 plus different wines on our wine list. So there's a wine,
awesome.
If you like to drink wine, or even if you're not sure about what you like to drink, we've got something for you to try.
So I've been to the winery. I think one of my favorite parts too is that you let people do tastings.
Absolutely.
Because that way you can try all 30 of them that are there, maybe not in one night.
Right.
Maybe on routine visits.
Right, couple visits.
That way you get a taste of the different wines that you have.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the wine making process. What makes yours different?
So we do things differently than a lot of other wineries, like you led into. So we make everything in a relatively small batch, especially a small batch for the business that we're in. It's kind of a throwback to small European villages where in the old days they would make wine just to supply that very small area. And they would make everything in small batches, very natural, right? Coming straight from the vineyard, into the winery and then, into the bottle and out to the consumer. So we have tried to capture as much of that as we can. One of our philosophies with making wine, all of our wines are low sulfite wines. So sulfite's a preservative, right? Most people love that. So we operate with all of our wines being made exactly the same with the sulfite level across the board, about a 10% level of sulfites from what most store-bought wines would be. So a lot of people have a reaction to sulfites. They'll get flushed, they'll get a headache, just different things. And they've kind of sworn off wine because of that.
I swore off red wine for a long time because of migraines.
And we have talked to a lot of people that they've been in that exact same boat. So Anyone who has tried our wines has not had any reactions or any issues with that. Now, I am not going to guarantee that you won't have a headache the next morning because I don't know how much wine you're going to drink. But so I'm not making that guarantee. But our philosophy is less chemicals, better for you.
Sure.
And we feel that less chemicals, less sulfites brings out what the natural taste of the wine should be.
So you're making healthy wine.
We are making a healthier wine.
I love it.
Exactly.
So you have some of your unique ones are, aged in a barrel, in a bourbon barrel. Talk about that a little bit.
So we do barrel aging, yes. So our distributor gets us bourbon barrels straight from Kentucky. The red wine that we have out now that was bourbon barrel aged is a Rosso Grande Excellente. It's a Northern Italy red grape. And we age that 7 to 8 months in a Booker barrel, which is the higher end Jim Beam bourbon. So the marriage that we're trying to make with the wine and the bourbon is to primarily give you that wine taste, but give you a little hint of the barrel aging and a little hint of what was in the barrel. So some of that residual bourbon, residual whiskey, whatever was in the barrel. So that's the product taste that we're trying to achieve. And all the barrels come to us a little bit different. Some of them will come with a little bit stronger whiskey taste or
Okay.
a little bit less of the whiskey taste. We monitor that as we're aging the wine, and we'll taste it from time to time to see, does this need to stay in the barrel longer or is it ready to come out of the barrel?
As you're making some of these small batches, and I know that probably it differs from red to white to some of your dessert wines. What's the time from start to finish? Like from when you actually start the production to when it's bottled and ready to serve?
So just in any of our basic wines, outside of some barrel aging, we can probably get in the bottle in 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Okay. The red wines take the longest to get out on the shelf, out to the table. We age those for a year. So that obviously creates some storage concerns, some issues. And so we were making wine last October, November for the following holiday season, right? So we have to constantly monitor that
You're kind of always
calendar.
ahead of the game.
You're always ahead of the game, and the reds are always the one that you're thinking about the most because you
Okay.
know you have to age them the longest. The white wines, your traditional white wines, will age for 6 to 9 months. Some of them will go a year. Some of the sweeter wines, fruited wines, and dessert wines, we can get out in 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a whole plethora of wine in front of us. Talk a little bit about some of these. We're clearly not going to make it through all of them. We really did want to have some tastings today, but I'll save that for tonight and this weekend. But tell us about some of these and some of the ones that maybe are the best sellers or the most popular at the winery.
So I'll start to your right. So those are all of our white wines. I didn't bring all of them, but those are some of our white wines. So to back up a little bit with the making process, a lot of people ask us, "Where's your vineyard?"
Yeah.
We don't have a vineyard. We're not farmers. So the process of getting wine to the fermentation step is to pick the grapes, destem the grapes, and crush the grapes. That's where we come in. Once the grapes are turned into juice, our distributor gets us juice from all over the world. So Europe, South America, Australia, South Africa, the West Coast, Canada, just all over, we'll get the juice from. And then we bring that in from our distributor and we blend and ferment everything right at our location in Shelby Township. So it allows us to create some different tastes if that's what we want to do, or kind of play mad scientist a little bit with the juices in the grapes. So the white wines, so we have some traditional taste that people would recognize. The one way over on the right is a Sauv Blanc. So we call that Blanco. We have a Pinot Grigio. We have a German Riesling. We have a Moscato. We have, I brought with one of the bottles there is our Shelby Trio White. So we'll do some blends. So that's a blend of 3 different
Okay.
white grapes that then creates a taste that's really unusual that you don't typically get, in a store. Next to that, kind of in the middle, those would be some of our red wines. I've got the red gold there, Amarone, so that's a Northern Italy red. I also have a Pinot Noir, a Merlot, a French Merlot, and then lastly a gold colored bottle a bit. That's our bourbon barrel aged red wine we call the Resolute. So we had a naming contest for that.
Oh,
And so
fun.
one of our customers was the one that named that wine. So we're going to do more of that as time goes along too. So
Get your regulars
we
engaged.
threw out the taste profile and where the juice came from and the barrel, type of barrel was in and the whole thing. And so anyway, so he was the winner. So he was all excited about
I
that.
bet.
And it's one of his favorite wines for sure. So kind of moving down the road here, we've got some of our fruited wines. We've got a strawberry, a green apple cranberry. This is a coconut
That
lime
sounds really good.
wine. So one of the things that we do seasonally is we have a slushy machine in the winery.
Oh, and let me tell you, I love the slushy machine.
And the wine colada, the coconut lime wine, is a mainstay in the slushy machine. So
Oh.
a lot of people want to steal the slushy machine, take it to the beach or their boat, but so far
Take it to my
we
backyard.
have it chained down.
As you should.
This is a raspberry, this is a pomegranate, and then this is a black cherry. So we try to do a lot of different things with those. Are lighter, sweeter wines. Those are great summer wines. Chill them down.
Absolutely.
Even the reds and the rosés. We chill down. It's just a light fruited wine that's so easy and nice to drink in the summer.
And then you've got two on the end that you call dessert wines.
We do have two on the end. Those are dessert wines, or some people call them ports,
Okay.
made famous in Portugal. Ours aren't infused. In Portugal, they would infuse them a lot with brandy. Those two right there aren't infused. Currently, we have a Coffee Delight, which is a medium roast coffee wine, and we have what we call Black Forest, which is a play on a Black Forest cake. It's a cherry chocolate. Yeah.
So talk about, you've got people that, should you chill your red wine? Should red wine be served at room temperature? Should white wine be served at room temperature? What's the best way, to drink some of these wines?
So the chilling or the room temperature definitely affects the taste,
Yeah.
right? And it's people that have had a same wine both ways, definitely know that. So traditionally, and we do as well, all of our white wines will be chilled. We feel that really enhances the taste. Conversely, all the red wines should be, served at room temperature. If you chill them, it kind of mutes the taste a little bit, and you definitely don't want that. One of the wines is one of our specialty wines I didn't bring with us today. We call El Jefe. It's a tequila barrel aged agave wine.
Ooh.
So really fun. Same as the bourbon barrel aging, we get a little hint of the tequila. We take agave syrup, ferment it, turn it into wine, and then finish age it in the tequila barrel. Tequila barrel comes straight up from Mexico. I know that because the barrel's has Spanish all over it, which I can't read. So I'm assuming it comes straight up from the home country of tequila.
So I know that, you said you had two children and you'd probably never pick between your two children, and you've got 30 of your precious babies in
Right.
front of us. Which one is your favorite? Or which one do you find yourself maybe gravitating towards the most?
So I'm a bourbon drinker, so I
Okay.
love being the person in the winery that really monitors and gauges a lot of the whiskey and bourbon barrel aged reds. So those are my favorite, but I like a drier, big, bold red. I'm really partial to the Northern Italy reds. They just do a great job with a big, full-bodied red wine. With that being said, there's nothing better than a French cab. So
Yeah.
that's the birthplace of the Cab Sauv and the most drank wine in the world by far. But they still do something about their soil and their environment. Australia and other regions have grown cabs, and they have their cabs. But to me, there's nothing better than a good French cab.
I see nothing wrong with any of these. So, what do you have any kind of fun flavor profiles that are coming up that are going to be new for the summer, or that you're, concocting? As you said, you play mad scientist.
Yes.
What are some new fun ones that people can expect?
Oh,
that
I
you can
came
tease?
prepared, so I've got a great answer for that. So our wine colada, our coconut lime wine, as I said, very, very popular in the slushy machine. We have taken that wine and we have finished aged it in a rum barrel.
Ooh.
So it takes on the wine colada is a play on a pina colada, right? A wine
Right.
version of a pina colada.
So in the rum barrel, it must
in the
pick
rum
up
barrel,
some of the remnants of the
Get a
rum.
little hint of that rum,
Ooh.
right? It could still go in the slushy machine, or you can just drink it chilled, and that's coming out Cinco de Mayo.
Ah, what a way to
So,
celebrate.
yes, 5-5. So that will be hopefully a great taste, a great new taste for us and for our customers.
So you've got a lot going on at the winery. There, you try, is bringing people in. The food's amazing. The wine is incredible. But you've been trying to bring some entertainment and some activities in as well. So you want to share a little bit about what's coming up this spring and summer?
Absolutely. We have started back up through the holiday season with our once a month music, which we're hoping we can increase that as time goes on. We have seen a great return to the tasting room, to the winery of people. And love to work with the local musicians and artists. There's so many talented people out there, and they do a great job. And it's such a fun evening when you have that music, the wine, the atmosphere, the environment, kind of a sing along. I mean, it gets a little crazy, a little rowdy, but it's just a blast. So we do that once a month with the music, and we're going to continue to do that. And we hope through the summer or into the fall that we can even ramp that up and go to twice a month with.
And you have a pretty nice outdoor patio there, don't you?
We do. We have an outside space, obviously seasonal, in Michigan. But
hey, by the end of this week, we should be all out there.
We
right?
we are warming up. Yeah, it's a good sign. So yes, we do have an outside space, just about 12, 14 seats out there. But we don't sit on a lake or anything. But we do. You can get outside if you'd rather drink and snack outside at the winery. So that is an option, certainly seasonally.
So, you guys have put your heart and soul into this.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and what's next for you guys? What's next for the winery? What do you hope to see?
Well, that's a great question. We have outgrown our space. We have 4,000 square feet total at our current space there on Van Dyke. So we have leased the space directly to the south of us.
Okay.
So that is going to be our production area. So we're going to move everything over there, and that's going to be where we make and store all of our wines, and we're going to turn our current fermenting room production area into a private room that we hope will seat about 30 people.
So I had the opportunity to come to the tasting room. It's cozy, it's comfortable, it's a great place to come with friends. I can't say enough about it. You also have a private room now, correct?
We do, in anticipation of having that newer, bigger private room. We actually just opened that up in January to the rest of the space. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we're closed. We're open Wednesdays through Sundays. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, we book corporate parties or networking events, just all kinds of different things, customer appreciation, employee appreciation. So we want to use the facility for the community, the business community especially, as much as we can. And we've gotten a big return, a big inquiry from businesses that want to, return to some sort of an outside space to have those events. We also, throughout the week, we'll host baby wedding showers, birthday parties, anniversary parties, just bachelorette parties, which are always fun. They get a little loud, but they're always a blast. To if we're a stop on a Friday or Saturday night for a bachelorette party.
How did the pandemic change how you guys were doing business? Because how long has the winery been open?
Last month in February 2022 was 3 years.
Okay, so you opened you had a year under your belt.
We had a year, and we were rewarded with being shut down for off and on.
Happy birthday!
Yes, for the next 8-10 months. You, as a business owner, if you're going to survive, right, you think of different ways of doing things.
Absolutely.
So one of the opportunities, we had curbside sales like a lot of bars, restaurants were doing. So we took advantage of that. That was nice, but it still wasn't enough to pay the bills. So we took advantage of an opportunity that we were afforded even before the pandemic hit us, and that was to have a presence at Eastern Market. So we had started with them the holiday season before, so it had been the holiday season of 2019. We had a table there. They've never had a winery that was set up at their farm market in the history of their farm market.
Wow.
So we were happy to have that opportunity. We didn't know what that looked like. We didn't know if the public was going to be accepting of that at the market, but we were going to give it a try. We had such a good run in that holiday season of 2019. We had committed with them certain dates throughout the next year, 2020. We were going to be there, but we weren't going to be there every Saturday. So we had showed up on a couple Saturdays scheduled in 2020 before the shutdown. Once the shutdown happened, we contacted the director at the market and said, "Is there any way that we can have a presence, more often at the market going forward because of the
Sure.
shutdown at our location on Van Dyke?" He said, "Absolutely." Obviously there was restrictions and guidelines like everyone had at that time. We were more than willing to adhere to that. From that time, about April of 2020 to today, we have not missed a Saturday now.
That's fantastic.
So we are a mainstay in Shed 3 at Eastern Market, and we have created a nice, following there. Excuse me. We are now able to offer tastes, which came back about a year ago at the market for us, which is huge for us and our product. So we just pour people a little bit of taste, and we take a dozen or so bottles to the market every Saturday and sell by the bottle.
Do you find some of those folks then heading up to the winery to check out what's going on up in Shelby Township?
Oh, for sure. It's been a great little marketing angle for us as well, for those people that live close to the winery. Even some folks that don't. We've had folks that have tasted some of our wines at Eastern Market that have visited our winery from the Ann Arbor area
Oh my
or
gosh. Okay.
downriver, or a little bit west side. So not obviously they won't be as frequent, customers as a lot of our local
But they're going to buy
regulars are.
more. They might
But
buy a case at a time.
but they will buy more and take it home, and we know they'll probably be back. So that's been a big win. That was a big win for us.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, Stacy, in 2020, that probably kept our doors open,
Absolutely.
having that other opportunity.
You've heard me say this on many occasions, Kurt, where I always said that the businesses that were most creative were going to be the ones that were going to be most successful. And I think you've shown how to be creative during, something we never thought would happen.
Right,
Like you said, shut down, not shut down, open, close, and finding a unique way to get your product and probably even expanding your market base from where you were before.
right.
You probably never would have had folks driving in from Ann Arbor to catch up your wine if you hadn't been at Eastern Market.
Right. So there's silver lining, right?
Absolutely.
But as business owners, we try to make those opportunities. You can still call it a silver lining, but we try to make those opportunities, and hopefully we did make that opportunity with our presence at Eastern Market. And like I said, that just continues today to be a big part of our week to week revenue. So we're very grateful.
One of the other things that I've seen your stretch of Van Dyke do well, there's a lot of small businesses in that stretch
Sure.
of Van Dyke north of M59 all the way up to 25 Mile Road, is that you guys collaborate together. You partner together on events, you help each other out. How do you think that's helped your business be successful?
Oh, quite a bit. Coming from the corporate world, I was so pleased to find that this industry, like no other industry I've ever known or talked to people about, is helpful. We help each other. So if there's a winery a mile down the road or 2 miles down the road, us helping each other creates more of a buzz in the community, and it really helps both of us at the same time.
Absolutely.
And you don't get that in a lot of industries, right?
Very
Too,
true.
too often in the business world, it gets to be too cutthroat. But not just us and other wineries, but us and other breweries and us and other restaurants. People that are in that space have been very, very giving of information and time to kind of show us what they did or what their walk was when they started, and some do's and don'ts. And I think a business mentoring another business is key for the whole collaborative of the businesses up and down Van Dyke or anywhere.
So you had mentioned too that you are starting to partner with some nonprofits. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we are open our facility to host fundraising and charity events. We're certainly want to be open and welcome to that, as well as we have a tasting certificate and food voucher that we give out to charities as they're having different events and auctions and things. So we want to give back, right? I think any good business gives back.
Absolutely.
You have to realize within yourself that you're fortunate and you're blessed to be where you're at. So we want to give back. The shutdown, the 2020 happened. It's over, and we want to support those charities that really probably struggled, through some of those times. And the work that they do to help other people, that didn't stop during the pandemic.
Probably most of them did more.
And most of them did more, and they struggled to raise money to do what they would normally
Right.
do, right? To help the community in the way that they've committed, to help. And so we definitely, want to do that. We want our facility to be not just our winery, but we want it to be a part of the community. So we want to make sure that we're being helpful to all of those around us.
And I love hearing that. My little nonprofit heart loves to, when businesses want to help the organizations that are in their community. So Kurt, tell everybody one more time where you're at.
We are on Van Dyke, north of 21 Mile Road, about a quarter mile on the west side.
All right. So my fellow wine drinkers, I will see you there. Kurt Teller, thank you so much from Unwined Winery.
Thank you,
Thank
Stacy.
you for joining us today, and thank you for joining us for this edition of our Chamber Connection. Thanks for tuning in to the Chamber Connection. Be sure to check out information on the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce website, our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We look forward to you connecting with us and tuning in next time.